We have already had an introduction, of course, to everybody, but I will put it up there again and we'll keep that there for a little while. William is going to talk to us a little later, not right at the moment, about what he enjoys and some of his experiences at the Alexander Heights Day Centre. His lovely wife, Beryl, is also going to talk about some of the benefits that she's seen over a period of time since the partnership has been offering different choices down at the club. Derek is going to talk a little bit about the journey for the staff, the volunteers and the club members since probably April to date. And Danielle is going to talk about some of the challenges and some of the benefits that have occurred along the way. And of course, most importantly, how we're going to be able to sustain a project like we've been working on for the last 18 months. So the City of Wanneroo was our pilot site for the Dementia Partnership project, as Jason talked about much earlier. And we've been working alongside them since July 2014 up until April 2015, and we are still just side by side with them at the moment because I have to take my hat off to them. Being the partnership and the first pilot site has been very frustrating for them as well, I think. And I must say Danielle has been my right hand and very supportive along the way because we were learning as well. There were the 3 sites at City of Wanneroo, and initially we worked alongside the 3 of them. So we were with Wanneroo Day Club, Linda Taylor, who's not here today, Margaret Ferguson from Quinn's Day Club, and Keralee and Les Armstrong from Alexander Heights. Overseeing all of this, of course, from City of Wanneroo has been Helen O'Sullivan, Jackie Higgins and Danielle. All 3 sites, of course, we found had some similarities and, of course, some differences, particularly around their physical environment and how they were actually engaging clients, staff and volunteers. Also had differing attitudes, different knowledge, skills and confidence with working alongside people who have dementia. One thing we found is that everybody at the sites all had a willingness to learn and make changes to support the aims of the project, and more importantly, the people that they were supporting at the day clubs. Another thing we found was each site had staff, volunteers and clients who accepted the need to change, and all, again, as I said, had staff, volunteers and club members who were challenged by the desire to change, which is very understandable. All 3 sites, when we had finished some of our work, we found that the key findings were actually all the same. So in February 2015, the City of Wanneroo management team decided, after we'd found all our key findings out and the report was delivered, to concentrate on achieving the desired outcomes at the one site, and we moved and focused all our attention to Alexander Heights, with the hope that down the track the application of our learnings from Alexander Heights will then start being applied at Wanneroo and Quinn's. Oh, there we go. So what you can expect if you decided that you wanted to partner with us and if you had a centre-based daycare site was, firstly, what we have done is identify a leadership group that are going to support and sustain the aims of the project and the findings. Because the Dementia Partnership project is about sustainability, we are very much about train the trainer and not just going in there and doing everything for everybody. So we really need to form a leadership group so that that team can then prioritise the recommendations at the end of the intervention and the end of the partnering, so that they can discuss what they feel will be achievable and what won't be. So again, we have to look at each individual site. What might work for one may not work for another, and you have to make those decisions yourself as well. So we spent time with what we're calling currently our relationship launches, and we had to announce the partnership and do some presentations with our clients, family, staff and volunteers. When we started working alongside the staff, we did what we call an initial needs analysis, And that was looking at staff and volunteers with their experience of working with people with dementia, their knowledge of dementia, their skills and their confidence. And this is a really great exercise that we did straight up. We do it on day one or within the first week of going in there. And what I did was I didn't actually look at those surveys from the staff and volunteers until after the observation period. And it was really quite interesting what we found, because what we found in most cases were if people didn't really see they were confident, in actual fact some of them were in areas with their knowledge. They may not have had a formal knowledge, but they had an empathy towards how they were actually working with people. We offered surveys, and we had 3, one from Dawn Brooker with the VIPs, the Alzheimer's Australia Valuing People tool, and some Eden surveys. So we did a cross-section of those. And what we do now when we're partnering is offer people the opportunity to look at all 3 and decide what they think will fit within their culture. So those surveys are looking at the culture of the organisation. And we then moved into an observation period, and we used predominantly an observation tool with the Dementia Care Mapping tool. And that is a tool that's used in public areas of the support environment. And it usually involves 1 or 2 trained mappers sitting in areas such as the lounge room or dining room, and we observe what is happening to people who have dementia over the course of a typical day. And at the end of that period of observation, the results are analysed and fed back to the care team so that the care can be developed further. While we're working in that observation period too, the rapport building, I think, and Danielle and Derek and everyone would agree, the rapport building is just so important. So it's about staff trusting us as well, because we're not in there to report back to the Department of Health or anything like that. We're there to actually enhance the quality of life for the people who are spending the day there. So we're there with the same mutual respect that we're there for the right interest. And then we present some key findings, and in this instance with the City of Wanneroo across the 3 sites, we looked at communication, we looked at the environment and how people could actually be more engaged within the environment. We looked at the language that was being used, because as we all know, language is very powerful. We looked at what was meaningful for people and how we could provide more meaning to people. And we were talking a lot about person-centred care, but we ended up talking a lot about wellness and enablement. Which then built into a recommendations report, which was presented to that leadership team, and again that's where all that priority happened around how they were actually going to address some of those key findings. And last but not least, the sustainability report, which also helped build a quality improvement process that can then map our journey, and further down the track we hope to be able to marry that in with the Home and Community Care Audit team so that they can see what progress is being made. So there's lots of recording and journal entries around what they're actually starting to change. So it was also very important that we put in a training plan so that people have some education and opportunities to workshop around learning more about dementia. And that training plan is quite a significant piece of the work, because we did actually find that a lot of volunteers, for example, hadn't had any experience with dementia or any formal training, so it was really very helpful, I think. What we will do now is spend some time with the panel, and we will ask just a series of questions, and then Derek is going to do a short presentation as well, so I hope you enjoy. Some of you over here may not see everything that's happening, and I do apologise for that. Our first question, of course, will be to William. And William, what we're going to ask you now is, we've talked a little bit about your personality from time to time, and you told me that you really like to be kept busy.
Yes.
And you love cooking for your family,
Yes.
playing the guitar.
Yeah.
You love Cliff Richards.
Yes.
What is it that you really enjoy about the day club at Alexander Heights now?
Yes, in Alexander Heights. I go to Wednesday every day, every week. and 9:30 to 2:30. I do a lot of exercise in Alexander Heights, just cooking and all the gardening as well. And all my gardening is, a silver beet is a lot growing now, and peas, beans, a coriander, and a ginger as well, a lot of now. And I do a lot of working in Alexander Heights Day Center, and I cooking as well, sweet pork and sweet chicken as well. And all my garden is now growing a lot. Peas, beans, coriander, and ginger as well. A lot of now.
And the guitar?
Yeah, and I play the guitar. And I like the Cliff Richard.
Cliff Richard's, Rhonda.
Yeah, sing a song of the young ones. And summer holiday, I sing along.
Would you like to say anything else or hand it over to Beryl now?
Yeah, I give to Beryl now.
Hello, I'm Beryl, William's wife. When William started to go to community center, I really noticed that he's really, really happy. When he comes back home, he feeds me back a lot of things that he was in the garden, and he's with his guitar, and with his cooking. And you can see the smile, big smile comes back on his face when he comes back from there. And it helps me too, because I'm really looking at my husband being happy. It really gives me a big smile too. He really looks forward to go to community. Sometimes I tell him, I said, William, you're not keeping well. I said, don't go today. No, I have to. I got to see my garden and my cooking. So I'm really pleased with the community, with my husband and everybody else, that they are really enjoying it in the community. So I already look forward more with the community with my husband and everybody else too.
Look, to be honest, there's heaps and heaps of benefits, and I could probably talk all day about those, but I won't. I wanted to share with you some of the really pertinent benefits that I think are actually practical and make a difference to the everyday. The big one really is that it reminded us that the emphasis is actually on the people, the members that are there, the people that we support every day, and it really took our focus back to them rather than delivering a service. It really made us get to know our staff and volunteers very well, understand their strengths, taught us self-reflection as individuals and as a team, taught us to look at the things that we do really well and maybe some of those things that we needed to work on or even get extra expertise for. God forbid we consider that our club members might actually teach us something. It gave us an opportunity to challenge the myths that operate in day centres and I'm sure lots of other facilities and venues. It opened up an opportunity for us to look at our inflexible policies and procedures and look at how we might rewrite them, as Ash mentioned earlier today, look at those areas of risk and how we might challenge them to still create a safe environment, but one that's enabling and meaningful. Another big one for us was the access to the training, education and mentoring at AAWA. That was absolutely invaluable and still is continuing on. And to work with Marlene and the other amazing team at AAWA, just to have people with their expertise, knowledge and experience in this field really was the benefit that was on top of all of those other person-centred and client-driven things. The access to ask the questions, to have the advice, but also to travel on that journey with rather than for.
So Derek is now going to spend a little bit of time doing what I've just done, standing up at the podium there. And Derek's going to talk a little bit, like I said earlier, about the experience and the learnings that he and his colleagues and the volunteers experienced.
How often do you find yourself thinking, if only I'd had more help to get things done today? Imagine that, more help. I want to share with you part of the journey that we're on. I was fortunate to be invited to work at Alexander Heights to support the Dementia Partnership Project, to drive the identified changes that Marlene mentioned, and work alongside the staff, volunteers, club members and families. After the observation period, we were presented with the key findings of communication, the use of language, our environment, meaningful engagement, and wellness and enablement. We are addressing all of those key findings in ways that are new to us. Today, I just want to talk a little bit about our approach and experiences related to those last two, meaningful engagement and wellness and enablement. We were working in a model that supported dependency for our client group based on us entertaining and serving them. There were many issues for staff, volunteers and club members in moving from that dependency model towards a wellness and enablement model that supported a person-centred care approach. We all needed a paradigm shift that re-evaluated our concerns about risks to our clients, a huge factor. But once we worked through those concerns, it was evident we also needed to change our way of facilitating support for people with dementia that embraced the whole person approach. Initially, we started with small changes. Our morning tea experience was one that Marlene refers to as the 3 S's. The cuppa was sugared, stirred and served to our members. We were doing for our client group, not with them. Consultation with staff and volunteers was a major part of these small changes, as they were reluctant to let go of the old way of being. Major consultation with families and club members was also required, as most of them were up in arms as to why we were no longer serving their morning tea. We agreed that consultation is the first step when making any change, no matter how small, and the longer we needed to spend consulting, the more sustainable the outcome. And while things moved slowly, we remained firm that this was going to be the new way. So, while we were making progress inside by engaging clients in the development of a basic household model, we decided to take our learnings outside and develop the outdoor area. We identified this as a great opportunity to provide meaningful engagement and wellness and enablement. But there are pitfalls. When we were discussing where to next at our daily learning circle meeting, we decided the staff would plan the trip to Bunnings and what to purchase. Within a 15-minute period, we had visualised and planned an instant garden and would have been completed by the end of the week. Well, how good are we? Straight into the secure way of being. No consultation with our clients, therefore no possibility of sustainability through ownership. After guidance from Marlene, we acknowledged that the planning stage had to occur with consultation with all the clients, and this developed into planning sessions with our club members every morning for 2 to 3 weeks. We all went through gardening magazines, cut out pictures and made posters of our to-be garden, and we made a plan of how it would look. It soon became apparent that a garden means different things to different people. Some club members saw the garden as a veggie garden, some as a herb garden, others as a flower garden. Pardon the pun, we promised them a rose garden. We now had all the components that make up a garden to reflect our clients' choices. Putting together the list of resources needed to create our new garden required more consultation and planning, and it was several weeks before we were ready to take a group outing to purchase our initial supplies. With the assistance of the men, we gutted the existing garden. There was lots of banter happening outside and a bond formed between the men. They went home tired but happy and eager to return, very important. Shortly you will see a brief slideshow that demonstrates some of the activities we call secret men's business. Wow. They're not going to be secret now. But the garden has become many things to many people. Last week, 2 of our fellows just took time out from the hubbub, went outside and just sat and had some one-on-one for half an hour. The staff meet there first thing in the morning. Les, our centre supervisor, can meet new families out there. And recently the team sat and discussed this presentation for today. It's a labour of love that's appreciated by all, and we're very, very proud of our achievement. As a matter of fact, while I was off work recently for a significant period of time convalescing, 2 club members took ownership of the maintenance of the garden. Importantly, the team has stayed discreetly removed from those tasks to allow the members to preserve ownership. And yes, our time is more productive because we have the help. You'll also notice in the slideshow that where possible, we planted seeds, not established plants where possible. And as the song says, from little things, big things grow. Thank you.
So just very quickly now, Danielle, if you can tell the audience from your experience as a leader in your organisation, what is required to sustain the changes at the day club now?
From our experience, we believe that strong, consistent and committed leadership isn't something that just happens during the intervention. It's something that has to remain well into the future. We need staff, volunteers and club members who are committed to the change, families who understand and want to work with us. We need to continue to be able to self-reflect and be prepared to work through continuing challenges. Nothing's ever perfect, nothing stays the same, so we have to continue as a team to work through those things. We need to be able to advertise our changes, celebrate those successes with home and community care, with the regional assessment teams, with other service providers at opportunities like this, and share those experiences with others so that they can also benefit. We obviously need new club members all the time. We, as you would well know, people come and go, people learn, people grow and move on. So we need continued support from the home and community care program, from regional assessment teams, and from the industry as a whole, to value and believe and trust in the new day centre model. We need continued community involvement in our club. As Michael spoke earlier, there is no me in community without you. And I really like that phrase and I'll continue to use that a lot. We need continue to drive for club growth. So although we have developed a great model now, we still have a long way to go and we have to be prepared to continue to drive that growth. And have fun. You know, there's lots of hard stuff, but there's heaps of good stuff. You saw the enjoyment on William's face and that's what drives me every day.
So just in closing, I would really like to thank the City of Wanneroo, to Kiralee and Margaret. I haven't seen you for a long time, or Linda, but it's all contributed to making a great success.